What is going on, everybody? I'm your man, Eric Wilson. On a Monday night, it is the Sports Arena every Monday, 10 p.m. Eastern. And as Marshawn Lynch would say, I'm just here so I don't get fined because right now, this Monday Night Football matchup has me kind of in my feelings right now. So y'all going to have to forgive a brother. If some colorful language comes out my mouth during tonight's episode, I just want to preface that by saying it is because right now my Philly defense is getting just picked apart by Patrick Mahomes and Isaiah Pacheco and the rest of the Kansas City offense. But let me go ahead and get the gentleman in here. Let me go ahead and he's a Sun Devil, Jerry. ASU Forks Up. It's my brother, Pitchfork Lunch, my man, Mike Caratanudo, who is smiling and grinning from ear to ear right now
Oh,
because
you
he
just
understands
no, you
the
just made me laugh.
implications of tonight's matchup.
Oh, absolutely, no, 100%. But no, you made me laugh because, like I told you, I mean, I don't know. God knows we've done a lot, but I mean, I was at that um, I was
Press
at that
conference.
media day,
Yeah.
Marshawn media day, and I just walked by and I said like something about Cal and the Pac-12, and he's like, "Oh, Bay Area," and I was like, I got something out of him besides I'm not, but I just kept walking. I wasn't trying to start a conversation, so that's why I'm not laughing at what you were saying about the game. I'm just laughing about that because, I mean, dude, if a dude doesn't want to talk, I get it's our jobs. You and I've said this a million times. I should be good enough. We should be good enough to go find a different story. Like,
Agreed.
cool, man. He's sitting
Agreed.
there
That's the
taking
whole
time,
point.
just giving a general answer, like, "Hey, man, all right, hey, man, dap you up. Hey, thanks, man, appreciate it."
Let
I'm
me go
out.
ahead and get my man in here because I'm sure he's got a lot to talk about tonight. Sideline Sports, the network, NFL Alumni Media. John Shears in the building. Good evening, John.
How are we doing, fellas?
Well,
Wonderful.
Mike is doing well considering the fact that Dallas went into Carolina and just basically, you know,
They didn't look great. The Cowboys didn't look great.
Please.
Despite the
Here he
score, it
goes.
didn't look great.
John, I hate to
Eric,
even admit it,
Here
but
he goes.
it's against Carolina. Come on now.
Just like
so
Trayvon
I
Diggs.
thought of something today,
excuses.
Eric, that
Sure.
might sway your opinion for that Christmas game.
Sure.
So I thought the Dallas Cowboys are the NBA's version of the Philadelphia 76ers.
Okay, goodbye, John. See, Mike, he's getting closer and closer. You might get an early Christmas present, man.
Yeah,
You
dude.
might get an early Christmas
Come on,
present.
One and done, baby, or you get to the second round at most and you're
My
out.
mom will be so proud because here's the funny thing. See, he'll throw shade on another thing, but this year, like all these other protagonists that were ex-players are talking about, they can't beat a good team, and they struggle with the freaking Raiders.
Let me
yesterday.
ask Ray Len if
Struggle.
he thinks it's
Struggle with the Raiders yesterday.
Ray Len, do you think that the Cowboys and the 76ers are the same team? Boom, they're out in the second round. They're the same exact team.
Well, you haven't done anything since
First off, I would just like to say nobody even looked at me in the background going, wait.
You just popped up like 2 seconds ago.
Well, I saw that. Like, it's all good, though. I'm here. You know what I'm saying? Are the Cowboys and...
Eric's going to eventually switch to the Cowboys.
Well, the Dolphins are the Clippers then, because the Dolphins ain't won since 72. So
are
the
Cowboys and the 76ers the same team?
Hey, you get to the second round and you're out.
Good evening,
good evening, Raylan. Sorry.
Aren't they the same team, Ray?
It's nice to see you, Ray.
First off, good evening, man. Listen, not a whole world get to see. Like, when I'm behind the camera, I be prepping myself. I'm a black man. Can't have my lips ashy on camera. I normally get my Carmex and sits here next to the computer, and I get myself right. Now I got to do it on camera.
Ray, as I said to start the show tonight, I'm just here so I don't get fined because Patrick Mahomes is just picking apart my Eagles defense, and so I'm kind of in my feelings right now.
I'm indifferent about this game. I'm in 3 different football pools, and then 2 of them I pick Kansas City.
The implications of this game directly affect the 3 teams that are on this screen along with myself. Should Kansas City get beat tonight, Baltimore would be the number 1 seed. Miami, of course, that puts them right in the conversation. And then you flip it over to the NFC. Should the Eagles lose tonight, we would be tied with your Detroit Lions for first place in the NFC and now only 2 games back to Dallas. And we have to face them.
Can you say that part one more time?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Should the Philadelphia, you know what, Mike and John, this don't even concern you. Goodbye. Should the Philadelphia Eagles lose tonight to the Kansas City Chiefs, we would be tied for best record in the NFL with your Detroit Lions. Yes, sir. Yes.
I mean, first off, ain't no like Kansas City is a tough team to play from behind against.
Yes,
right?
they are.
And you guys are down right now.
By 10.
The upside is they're not playing great. Like I'm like, you look at them, like Mahomes got like 78 yards, Kelsey has 11 yards and a touchdown, right? But they're just a tough team to play from behind against because as quiet as kept, like all these years, they've dominated offensively. They're gonna put up 30 on you, and they've dominated defensively this year, which is really weird, right? They've dominated defensively, and Mahomes gets to play early year Tom Brady and late year Peyton Manning, right? He's just going out playing to not lose, like he's just winning games. And as great as he is, to be able to be doing that this year, right? Like they're just tough to play from behind against, man. So like this game, I'm not gonna say it's all but over. Philly's a great team, but the more important part is when Philly loses, they will be tied with who?
Down. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, come on.
Hey, sir, this is why you said you wasn't gonna do this shit.
I said I might not. I'm just here so I don't get fined. Okay.
Right.
I'll mute myself.
As for the Dallas thing, I don't know, like if that was like banter or if that was like a legit, I don't know, but it's just a pot shot, right? That's one of those things where it's like, oh, let's take a stab at him, but it isn't crazy. Dallas hasn't had the type of success that their talent warrants, right? Like if you look over the last, I don't know, I mean, like they've had really, really good quarterbacks. Like I believe Tony Romo is like my Chris Paul. Like Tony Romo is like the best quarterback of his era to not win. I think like Tony Romo was really, really, really good. And then Dallas just never could put it together around him, right? And then he loses his job to injury, and Dak comes in his rookie year and goes 13-3, and then Tony Romo's never heard from again. Like I wish Tony Romo would have got to play with that team that rookie year with Ezekiel Elliott coming in there with that defense playing. I wish Romo would have got to play with that team. But point being, you look at the offensive weapons and the kind of players they've had over the years. Like I say, you go from Romo, DeMarco Murray led the league in rushing when he was there. Zeke led the league in rushing yards per game a couple of years. Roy Williams, CeeDee Lamb, T.O. was there for a little bit. Like they've just had talent over the years like crazy. Have they been to a conference championship game?
No. Nope. They have not.
And one of their playoff wins they stole against us. So I'm just saying, Mike, if we take fandom out of it, right? When have you ever seen in a football game a ref throw a flag, right? And not like where a ref throws a flag and then goes, hey, there's no foul on the play and they pick it up. No, a ref throws a flag. They make the announcement over the microphone, pass interference on the defense, then go back, huddle, and come back and pick it up and say, nope, no flag. You've never seen that before.
Right. Yes, the way they got there was, yes, I agree.
Yes. All right, so we gonna pass all of that because John is just trying to get me because he knows I'm in a vulnerable spot tonight. John, he's just gonna keep poking the bear because I keep telling him, and we getting closer and closer. I'm telling you, we about a month away from that Miami-Dallas game on Christmas Eve, and I might break my mold. I might break the streak. I might do the unthinkable. On Christmas Eve, give this man John Zip your lip. Give this man right here an early Christmas present, and I might actually pick them over the team that I can't stand every single week. And everybody, it is without fail, every single week I pick against Dallas. They play in Washington on Thanksgiving. Everybody's pretty much going to pick Dallas. Guess who's picking Washington? This guy. Okay? And I love the comments. Keep them coming because y'all just think that there's something happened to me. And that's the reason why I went against Dallas. No, it is a very simple explanation. And I'll tell y'all, full transparency, I am stubborn to my core. Do I know that Dallas is pretty much going to win a lot of these games? If you made me bet my house and everything else, yes, I would probably pick them. But I am that stubborn. I am that much of a Dallas Cowboy hater that I will pick against them every week knowing that I'm going to lose that matchup. I know it. But I'm still going to do it. Anyhow, let's talk about a team that is making noise. Let's talk about a team that a lot of people put some expectations on, and they are living up to it and then some. And since it is my co-host, the sports reporter without pay, Detroit Lions. For all the talk of what the Lions haven't done in years past. Yesterday was a sign of the Detroit Lions being who everybody expected them and thought they were previously. And what did Detroit do yesterday? I'll let the sports reporter without pay tell you himself, because that was his team. What did they do yesterday in the fourth quarter, Ray?
You know what, man? Yesterday was very promising, and I'll tell you why. Y'all know when I get on here and talk about the Lions, I try to leave fandom out of it, right? Like, even last year, you guys were like, man, the Lions on the rise. I'm like, let's pump our brakes. Even at the beginning of this year, it was like, they'll be good, but now they're showing not only can they go out and beat good teams, right? We beat Kansas City early in the year. We beat the Chargers in a shootout. And then you look at yesterday's game, which can be a trap game. It's a division game. Teams always play you tough. And it's a team that people think are beneath you. But what happens? Their starting quarterback comes back. Cool. That's not like a big deal. But like the team's kind of rejuvenated. They playing with passion. They playing with fire. They go out and they're playing hard. And with 4 minutes left, it looked like we were out of this game. What yesterday showed me was we can handle adversity too. That's a huge thing. In fact, 2 weeks in a row, because the game against the Chargers came down to the fourth quarter, and it came down to a shootout, and Goff just did his thing. And yesterday, Goff wasn't playing great all game. Did he have 3 interceptions yesterday?
Yes, he did.
3 interceptions, right? And then it got to the fourth quarter, and we just did what winning teams do, right? We did what winning teams do. I think at large, the entire world probably 3 weeks into the season penciled Philly and San Francisco to the NFC Championship game. I would simply say, not so fast. We're going to have something to say about it. And Mike over there shaking his head, Dallas might have something to say about it too. I think those are the 4. I'm saying, but those are the 4 best teams in the NFC, right? Nobody in the South has a stake in this fight.
No.
They'll make the playoffs because they have to, but it's Dallas, Detroit, San Francisco, and Philly.
Yep.
And I'm confident that we can go out and play with any of those teams.
Absolutely.
No, there's not a pushover.
I will be very honest when I say this, and then I'll turn it over to John and Mike. And let me be abundantly clear when I say this. Out of those 3 other teams that we just mentioned, you know the only team that I truly fear? The only team I truly fear. First off, I hate the Cowboys, so I don't care what we got to do. I'll pull a Dan Campbell, bite kneecaps, bust ankles, body bag game. I don't care. I don't. Okay? Let me be very clear about that for those who still don't understand or get it. Secondly, the San Francisco 49ers. We'll see them in 2 weeks. And yes, you got Chase Young from Washington. And he seems to be this new he's been rejuvenated now that he's on, a Steve Wilkes defensive team. So let's see what he does. But rest assured, you're playing that game, I believe, in Philadelphia. You don't think it's going to be reminiscent of the NFC Championship game? Guess what?
San Francisco's done.
I'm sorry?
I think San Francisco's done.
We'll talk about them. Don't worry about it. But the team that I am actually fearful of, and it's not because he's the co-host, it is simply because I go back to week 1 of last year when we played them in Detroit. And Detroit came out and said, we're going to make a statement week 1. While everybody else was still trying to figure out what they were doing, Detroit knew who they were from jump last year, and it has ridden all the way to this point. If Philadelphia has to face Detroit in any round of the playoffs, which will arguably be the second round or the conference championship, I'll tell you right now, we better pin our ears back and everything else, because we already know what Detroit's going to be about. And if we have to go to Ford Field, a place where Detroit hasn't seen an NFC championship game in God knows how long, Claude, have mercy. I fear for Philadelphia that day. So, Mike, John, I'll turn it over to you. Talk to me about the Lions-Bears game from yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for the Lions. Like Ray said, when this whole winning ugly thing, I get it, and we'll get to other games later. But, yeah, I mean, you have the turnovers. Justin Fields comes back, and he's looking good. And, the Bears are trying to figure out, as you can see going forward, are they going to draft? They're going to have a high pick. They're going to have 2 picks in the top 10. So are you going after a quarterback? Is Justin Fields your guy? With the right coach, I think Justin Fields is the guy. But to the point with the Lions, you win a game like that, you score, 10 points, Ray, in under, 4.5 minutes, basically? I mean, it was 4.5 minutes, and they score 10 points, and they win the game. And Jared Goff, who, yes, can get a team to the Super Bowl. Everyone will say, oh, Sean McVay, this and that. Well, Sean McVay wasn't making. I mean, yeah, the play calling and the design, awesome. Never going to take that away from him. But Jared Goff can get a team to the Super Bowl. Like, it's to win like that, to have a win like that, to start your season, Eric, like you said, in Kansas City, and get that win on opening night. And last year, like I said, when they won a few games, and then they won one game, and then they hit that slide. Like, it was like they're in every game. They got hosed in that Baltimore game, and now, but they're controlling what they can control. To our point, like, they're playing defense. I mean, yeah, you see him right there, Hayden Hutchinson. You get a guy like that. We obviously loved Eric when they drafted Penei Sewell out of Oregon. Like, this dude's a road grader, and a lot of people were saying, like, it was a whole thing with. And it worked out well for Cincinnati to take Jamar Chase, but it's like Joe Burrow can't stay on his, he has a very dirty jersey. Jared Goff, like, in that line, which has grown from last year, and then Dan Campbell, I mean, they have his personality. They just showed the fight. Like, that third, I think it was the third interception. I was like, man, you know what? It's somehow crazily Justin Fields come back and he has, like, just some, fairy dust, whatever. It's just their day. But the last two drives, they just stuck with it. That's what I wanted. I think that's what a lot of people wanted to see from their offense, but more so, Eric, from Jared Goff. Like that, like, people say, oh, he's just a stopgap quarterback. Well, they're winning with them now. Jahmyr Gibbs. Yeah, I know he got banged up, but now a two-headed monster with David Montgomery. Like, that's why I was shaking my head yesterday. I mean, it is a scary team, but to have a win like that, to quote unquote win ugly, but when you have that many turnovers, when you lose the turnover battle, you should not be winning, especially when it's -3. You should not be winning the game.
And we'll get to a team that did just that. But John, really quick, talk to me about what you saw from yesterday.
Yeah, again, it's kind of like a starting pitcher, going 5 2/3 innings, and he gives up 8 hits and he gives up 4 earned runs. He didn't quite have his best stuff. He didn't quite have the command of the strike zone like he wanted to, but he battled. And he gave his team a chance to win. It's kind of what I saw out of the Lions yesterday. I mean, you saw it with the Dolphins too. We've seen it many times with the Eagles this year and the Cowboys. Like, games where you just don't have your A game that day. But like you guys said, you find a way to win the game, find a way to make the plays. And to cap it off with David Montgomery scoring the go-ahead touchdown against his former team, like, that was huge. I believe that was huge for David Montgomery to do that to his former team, to say, hey, you let me go, and I did this to you guys. And then the sack by Aiden Hutchinson. He hasn't had a sack in a very long time. That's the first one in a very long time, but he gets a lot of pressures. So yeah, the Lions winning whenever they didn't have their best stuff. That's what championship teams are made of, and they had to win the game, and they did what they had to do. And kudos to them for that stop. After they scored the touchdown to make it a 1-score game, the 3-and-out that they had to have to give their offense a chance. Kudos. That was a big stop too.
So speaking of, because Mike brought it up, and I'm glad you brought it up, Mike. Speaking of teams not doing what they're supposed to do, or just basically, I don't want to say giving the game away, but just doing the things that are going to cause you to lose a game, but you still find a way to win. Can we just take a moment and recognize what CJ Stroud had did yesterday? This brother threw 3 interceptions, 3 in the fourth quarter, and they still found a way to beat a Kyler Murray-led Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah.
Like, Mike, I know that's your backyard. So, bruh, talk to me about this, because now the comparison as of today is they're comparing CJ Stroud to Steph Curry. And he said it in his post-game press conference. He said, Steph Curry going to keep shooting, so I'm going to keep doing my thing. I know I need stuff that I need to work on and fix, but, this is a young man who, first off, a lot of people, especially I think if you're Carolina, you're hating the fact that you didn't take him over Bryce Young at this particular stage of the game. But more importantly, we didn't expect Houston to be who they are right now.
Right.
Mike, you were the only one to give them 6 wins.
Yeah, and
the rest of us gave them 3-4 wins,
right,
based on the history of this team. So,
right,
Mike, like I said, your backyard. Talk to me about the Texans and Cardinals.
Yeah, I wanted to give DeMeco Ryans obviously the benefit of the doubt. That's why I went 6 wins, because I knew Lovie Smith, like I've talked about, left the defensive cupboard very full. Got some veterans. They got a lot of young guys in there. But no, with CJ Stroud yesterday, I mean, yeah, that was a great quote. I mean, when I watched that, when I saw him say that post game, he's like, you're going to keep shooting, figuring it out. Like, this is a game where against a Jonathan Gannon defense, he pretty much looked like a rookie, right? Throws 3 picks.
Did he?
5 on the year now, but it's one of those things where he knows he's playing, like, again, it parallels to the Lions-Bears game. Like, it wasn't his best game, but he's got to keep putting it up. The Texans offensively are better. But look, before I finish on CJ Stroud, Kyler Murray did play a heck of a game. I'll give him that. These first 2 games back, he does look pretty good. Rondell Moore,
great.
the speedster, Rondell Moore, who they drafted, and everybody loved this guy's speed. You can't just use him on end arounds. That touchdown pass that he caught, Eric, in his 2 seasons, that's the longest traveled air yards for a touchdown of his. And that's obviously before Kyler went down last year too. So again, a lot of blame on Cliff Kingsbury, but that's, I digress. But for the Texans, look, they're protecting CJ Stroud. He's sliding in the pocket. And that's the thing about his game. And they talked about it. And Paris Johnson Jr., the Cardinals obviously tackle, they drafted at Ohio State, said that it's like everybody thinks that, he can't, he's not fast or he doesn't want to run. He slides the pocket when he has to. If he has to take off and run, he'll run because he can pick up the first downs. But he knows that what he has in his right arm, Eric, and he's going to make the plays. And if you can run the ball, which we've seen, like, you run the ball decently, at least give that offensive line a chance to establish something, because it's better than they've looked in. I mean, like we said, Eric, but it's been 4 years. I mean, every quarterback that's played there it's been worse than Joe Burrow, put it that way. But what CJ Stroud is doing, the way he's reading defense, even yesterday, like after the 3rd interception too, and I'm like, man, it's just, I'm like, not their day, not his day. And it's going to happen. One game as a rookie, people are like, oh, all the haters are like, oh, look at that. See, I told you. Yeah. he still had a good day, but to make the reads he did, and then to just go to the sidelines, take a breath, and then, lean on your defense to make the play. You're going to need games like that. Like John just said, obviously Detroit got that stop, leaning on their defense to make that play. Like it's going to be a team thing, but him at quarterback, like, okay, he has one bad game. Tell me, raise your hand. You think he's going to throw 3 interceptions a game the rest of the way out? I'm going to say no.
I'll say yes because he's a rookie, and
you think he can throw 3 interceptions?
He's going to go against. And I have to look at their schedule, but he's going to go against defenses who are going to begin to pay more attention to him. CJ Stroud was a guy, I always say this about when a new player, quarterback, wide receiver, corner, whatever, comes into the league, there's not a lot of tape on him. But as a player begins to mature and we begin to see how they do things, defenses and defensive coaches, coordinators,
right,
what do? They spend their time focused on this individual. So they develop how to counter punch, if you will.
Right. I don't see him throwing 3 picks a game, but he does have Jacksonville next week. So
they do have
Mike, I already know they have Jacksonville next week. You're picking Houston. I get it. Ray, let me come to you really quick about this, because Kyler Murray now 2 games back. We knew Arizona wasn't going to be much ado about nothing. But again, with the Texans, I asked the question last week, are they a true threat? Like Mike just said, they're playing Jacksonville. This is potentially for the AFC South. And CJ Stroud, in his first year, along with first-year head coach DeMeco Ryans, might actually take this division.
So what's the question? Are they a threat?
My question to you is your thoughts on that game, and where do you honestly feel the Texans are right now? Because we know someone's got to come out the South. The same thing we said about the NFC, we're saying about the AFC. Give me your thoughts on that game and the Texans as a whole.
I think at some point, right, comparative to my Lions, we have to believe what we see right in front of us, right? Like with CJ Stroud, we had the conversation last week about possibly being in the MVP conversation. Everybody go, what? Why not? right? Like if you talk about value and you talk about a guy that was drafted number 2, usually the team is gonna be trash. Like this dude is playing lights out. Is my camera matching my voice? Am I like backed up?
There's
Like a second off,
there's a lag, minor lag though.
but you're good.
Okay. I mean, it looked crazy on my screen, but okay. It's like 3-5 seconds off on my screen, but okay. But I think they're very good, man. So the question is, are they a threat to win the division? They're more than a threat. Like they legitimately can win the division. Like, I mean, yes, they can win the division, right? They're as good as Jacksonville, and both of those teams are like, I don't even know how the Colts are 5-5 right now. I really don't. They're not a very good team, but yes, they could win the division, but nothing much after that, right? Like they can't, like Kansas City would mop the floor with them in the playoffs. Baltimore would mop the floor with them. Miami would score 117 points again. They're not ready for the big leagues like that yet, but they're really good. In fact, I think it would be really fun to watch CJ Stroud in the playoffs against any of those guys, Mahomes, Tua Tagovailoa, Lamar Jackson. Like I think he would put on a show. This is going to be like their learning curve. Like they're going to go out there. I think they can make the playoffs, and they're going to get lumped up in their first playoff game. But who would have thunk, right? Houston was atrocious last year. And you're playing with the number 2 draft pick, and you're winning games, and they may win their division. So, I mean, shout out to them. They're a really good team, and I have zero problem with people putting CJ Stroud in the MVP conversation. And as for the interceptions, like, he played a great game for 3 2/3. Like, he was great until like the last 7 minutes, right? Like, and even the interceptions is one of the ones, like, you watch the game and it was like, that was just a bad throw. That was aired. That one got hit. Like, I think he still played great. And they won. And with 3 interceptions in week 10, he has 5 for the season, man. He's playing lights out.
All right. John, give me your thoughts real quick, and then we are going to take a quick commercial break.
Yeah, I mean, I really, really like what the Cardinals have in James Conner. We didn't really give them much love. I like what they have in Conner and Kyler Murray and some of their receiving weapons. And I like McBride, and I like Zach Ertz. I like that combo whenever Ertz is back. I think they got some weapons on that offensive side. The defense is bad, but offensively, I think they have some weapons. I mean, they're not as bad as their record says. I think they're tanking. I will always believe they're tanking. So that way they can build for next year. It's smart because
John, hold on, time out. They just don't have closers on offense. That's the thing. I agree with you on that. No, hold on. I agree with you on the talent. They don't have the closing on the offense. So yes,
starting Clayton Tune and things like that. I think that they're. I think that they know they weren't going anywhere, and they're right. Like with Kyler Murray out.
But they still don't have the closers. I don't disagree with you, but they still don't have the closers. That's all I'm saying.
I think with some good draft picks next year, in addition to the pieces that they have, and they're locked into Kyler Murray, guaranteed money for the next couple of years. You're not getting rid of him because of that contract. You can't. Otherwise, you're eating a lot of dead money.
Right, absolutely.
And he's young, and he looks really good.
Yeah.
So if you could do what you did when you got him DeAndre Hopkins.
Hold on. John, it looks really good, and Eric just complimented you because Jonathan Gannon came from Philly. He wasn't going to take that crap that he was giving to Cliff Kingsbury. That's all I'm going to say about that. But you know what I'm talking about.
But I mean, if you do what you did when you gave him Hopkins and stuff, you give him another number one threat to go with weapons.
John, offensively, you have Connor if you have the tight ends, but they still don't. And again, I'm not saying Wilson, the young rookie receiver, can't be that guy, but yeah, he is banged up right now.
But you know what I'm saying?
But they don't have that closer, right?
Still Kyler developing Murray, as a passer. Give him a number one to help him continue to progress. Yeah.
But they still don't have that closer this year.
I mean, go out and get Marvin Harrison Jr. in the draft if you can. That would be amazing with Kyler Murray.
Okay. Great stuff, guys. When we come back, we are going to talk. We're going to give John a little bit of love to his Dolphins because they did pull out a victory. Showing some love to this guy right here. No, not the guy on the left, the guy on the right. DRT. I want to give him some love, man.
DTR. You know?
I'm sorry.
Is his name Myles Garrett? No, it's
DTR.
DTR. Sorry, yeah. DTR. And then, of course, we got to talk about Russell Wilson and Sean Payton because it looks like they have actually found their cohesion. But more with the crew. It is the Sports Arena. It is Monday night. Philly's only down by 3. Let's hope something does change, but we'll be back in just a moment.
Audio Jungle.
As you see, National Scouting Combine 2024 is just a few short months away. The opportunity for a lot of young athletes to ascend to that next level, whether it be in the CFL, the XFL, the Indoor Arena Football League, or even the NFL, along with other sports outside of the world of football, such as rugby, NASCAR, the USA Bobsled Team, the WWE, multiple opportunities by coming to one event. True testing. I mean, it has been proven time and time again going into year 13. The Sports Arena, along with the Sideline Sports Network, has been blessed to be a part of it for the last 6 years. Great time had by all. And of course, we get to go have chocolate cake shakes with Mike Garrett-Tenuto.
Diabetes in a cup. Sorry.
No,
Sorry.
you don't gotta go. Nobody invited you to go. You're not invited to the Chocolate Cake Shake barbecue.
Like, I don't understand how you like that. It's
all right, first.
awful.
All right.
Okay.
Never end.
Anyhow, your man Eric Wilson, alongside my co-host, the sports reporter without pay, Mr. Ray Lynn, is in the building. Pitchfork Lunch, ASU. He's a Sun Devil, Jerry. My man Mike Garrett-Tenuto, which can I say, shout out to your boy Brandon Ayuk on Sunday. That brother balled out. I saw a couple of them shots from Purdy, and I was like, yo. Didn't even need Debo. I mean, I know y'all love him, but I'm just saying, Big Guard's team is truly making a case why they are one of the top teams in the NFC. And then my man, John Shear, Sideline Sports, NFL Alumni Media. This brother is all over the spot, so make sure you check them all out on all of their social media. So let's keep it going. We got a couple more games to talk to. Yes, John, we will get to this game right here. Miami almost didn't get it done yesterday, John. I'm just saying.
I'm glad you said the same thing about the Lions, didn't you? Oh, no, wait. No, you didn't.
No, I didn't. I didn't. Because you know what? There is a higher expectation when you have the weapons that Miami has in Jalen Waddle, in Tyreek Hill. Oh, and by the way, Jalen Ramsey's back, isn't he, John?
Yeah, he had 2 picks yesterday.
Okay, so when you're playing against a Antonio Pierce-led, no disrespect to the head coach, because I love black head coaches, team, you're not playing with Jimmy Garoppolo. Devontae Adams looked like he's on his way out the door, and Max Crosby is still the guy holding this team together. There is a certain Miami should have went in there and did to the Raiders what they did to Denver, put up a 50-piece, but that didn't happen. John, did it?
It's not the same.
Why did it not happen, John?
It's not the same.
Why did it not happen, John?
As it was with Josh McDaniels.
Why did it not happen, John?
Has them playing with their hair on fire.
So, John, so you're saying coaching matters, John? Is that what you're saying?
I've always believed in coaches.
Okay.
I don't think it's
your team, so I'm gonna let you
please
enlighten us as to what you saw yesterday with your Miami Dolphins going up against the Las Vegas Raiders, John.
I think that the Miami defense continues to get better, and it's scary for what that means for the rest of the NFL. Because that defense continues to look better and better week in and week out. And Jalen Ramsey said that he's still in training camp mode. Like, his body is still in training camp mode, 3 weeks removed from coming back from that injury. His body's still in training camp mode right now. Like, he said he's not in midseason form. He's not anywhere close to that. He has 3 picks in his last 3 games since he came back. That's scary. Like, the fact that Jalen Ramsey, right now, he's the 2nd highest rated corner in the NFL next to that guy over there's guy who has 4 pick sixes this year. Jalen Ramsey,
say it right. NFL record.
He's tied for the NFL record.
No.
But Jalen Ramsey is the 2nd highest graded cornerback, and he's only played a couple games. And y'all tried to tell me that he was washed, that trade was nothing. I believe it was that guy down there in the left-hand corner tried to tell me that Jalen Ramsey was washed,
John. If you want to call somebody out, call him out. Who said Jalen Ramsey was washed, John?
I believe it was that guy down there in the left-hand corner when we got him. I believe it was him trying to tell me that Jalen Ramsey.
So I want to make sure you talk about your military left. You talking about me or Eric?
You're bottom left to me.
He's saying you, Ray.
Yeah, you. I believe
I'm like the biggest Jalen Ramsey fan in the world. Like,
I believe you tried to tell me that Jalen Ramsey was dead.
I'm always singing Jalen Ramsey's praises, so it wasn't me. Like, wasn't me.
John,
but
we all
you actually said Jalen Ramsey was nothing in LA, and now that he's with the Dolphins, he was right.
I
You
told
should
you
get
we
him on
prayed
that.
for him that he
Eric,
wasn't done.
That's a homework assignment. We need to find. I'll search whatever you tell me to search. Because last year in LA, he was like, oh yeah, Jalen Ramsey, this and that. Oh, and now he goes to Miami, and all of a sudden,
I told you when we traded for him that he still had that dog in him. And
okay, now he's got it.
But that defense with Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb, and they continue to pressure the quarterbacks at a high rate. It doesn't. The Miami, like, this team is so good with how good that defense is. The offense doesn't even have to play at a high level for them to win games. That's how good the defense is. Kind of like Kansas City. You have a defense that can play championship level defense. You don't need your offense to go out and kill it. And that's what Miami has on their defense. That's why I'm saying it's scary, because the defense continues to get healthier and better week in and week out. That's going to be a problem.
I got to start getting more receipts on John, because when he be blaming people, I want to make sure I'm looking at stuff properly. But anyhow.
I believe. I didn't say it was,
anyhow, it's okay.
Now
it's okay. It's all right. It's
soften the landing now.
We gonna go to the sports reporter without pay, because I want to get his thoughts, because he is the gentleman, even more so than you
By
are,
the way,
John,
I'm disappointed
saying
in
that
our
Tyreek
offense.
Hill is going to be the MVP this year. So let's hear from Mr. Ray Lynn about that.
Well, first, I want to just backtrack to something you said, Eric. You said, when John said, well, did you say the same thing about the Lions? You said, when you have the weapons you guys have, save Tyreek Hill, because Tyreek Hill is Tyreek Hill. He's a man-child freak cyborg. Like, he's different. Aside from Tyreek Hill, are we sure the Miami Dolphins have more weapons than Detroit? Are we 100% sure about that? No, I'm asking. That's what I'm asking. Like, Tyreek Hill is clearly a top, right? But you have Tyreek Hill and Waddle, and then they have their two-headed running back, Monster and Mostert and a Chain. How you say his name?
A
Chain.
And then we have Gibbs and Montgomery. Amon St. Brown has clearly established himself as one of the best receivers in the game. And Laporta is now one of the best tight ends in the game. Like, he's putting up the same numbers as Waddle.
He's a rookie.
I'm just simply saying, we ain't no slouch on that side of the ball.
And you have the best offensive line in football. I would argue.
Excuse me?
The best offensive line in football belongs to Detroit.
Excuse me?
It belongs to Detroit. I'm sorry, Eric.
Hey, and Ray, the crazy thing is Jameson Williams is getting healthier too.
No. I understand that currently right now we are down 3 points to the defending Super Bowl champions. But I am not going to let John Scheer just sit up here and spit the fact that the Detroit Lions have the best offensive line in football in the entire
line is
NFL.
Insanely good.
Have you seen John? Why do you do this each and every week? You come on this show and you gonna poke the bear. That's what you gonna do, John. And see, now I got to tell you about yourself, because you seem to think you are forgetting of Mailata and Dickerson and Kelsey, the best center in all of the NFL, along with Lane Johnson. I'm sitting here and I'm saying to myself, so you're saying
you don't have anything
Detroit
close to
Lions
Penei
offensive
Sewell.
line.
Close. You don't have anything close to
Come on.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
Hey, Eric.
Right.
Eric.
Yes,
Eric.
sir.
You said you watching your Philadelphia Eagles play against who?
The Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs.
Weren't your Eagles in the Super? Who did they beat?
Yes,
Never
sir,
mind. All right.
This is the rematch.
Oh,
Yes, sir. This is the rematch. Yep. You go ahead and twist it, because it's already been twisted. It's already been twisted. I'll take it from both sides. It's okay. But see, John liked to run his mouth. John, answer me this question, though, for real. Let's keep it a buck right now.
Sure.
Okay. You match up, you stack rank my offensive line, the Philadelphia, against every other offensive line in the NFL. And I want you, this is your homework assignment for next week, because we got more stuff to talk about. So I'm not gonna waste my time with this tonight. I want you to find consistently 5 better offensive linemen this season. That's your homework assignment.
Detroit
Next Monday,
Lions,
I want to hear about it.
I just told you the Detroit Lions.
No.
That's done. I just finished your assignment.
Okay. All right. That's your homework assignment, John. I want, since you want to be the analyst, I want facts. I want stats. That's what I want. Because I'm going to come with mine next week. But I'm going to give you a week to get your sugar honey iced tea together.
I'm not even sure you know anybody on the Lions offensive line besides Penei Sewell. So we'll just stick with that.
All right.
I would say this. It makes for a much better show when everybody's team, like everybody on this screen can legitimately say, we could be in the Super Bowl and not sound crazy. Man, listen, y'all keep sleeping on Dallas if y'all want to.
I'm not sleeping on them. I just don't like them.
You hate them. I
do.
Right. I get it. Like,
I do.
You have
but
to
I will,
hate a
but,
team.
but what
to
I will
pick.
not sit here and
who did
say.
They even play this week that you picked? I don't like. Who did they play?
Carolina.
Carolina.
You can say, you know what? The sports screen on the sideline sports, we're going to suit up. We're going to put Denzel Snipes at center. He's going to snap it to Ray Lynn, hand it off to Eric, and we're going to beat Dallas. That's how much you hate him, man. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, it's just whoever they're playing. Like,
exactly.
they're playing a JV team. I'm picking them. They got a chance.
Yep. That is exactly right. Because I am stubborn. Every single week. It don't matter.
But no, man,
like I said, keep the comments coming.
I know we draw on each other, but I have to say the same thing about the Dolphins that I said about my Lions, right? Like it's one thing to go out and beat up on the teams that you're supposed to, right? But when you do that, then everybody goes, "Oh, they haven't played anybody." Like, these are NFL teams, man. These are professionals. They're gonna come out some weeks, and some weeks, you're just gonna get drugged by the Arizona Cardinals. It happens sometimes, right? So, when you go out and you find yourself in a dogfight with a team that you're just clearly better than, only thing that you can hope for is that your team pulls it out. We talked about it for the first 5 weeks of the season. Your team was 5-0, and we didn't think they played good in any of those weeks, right? So when your team doesn't go out and perform to the level that you expect them to, the only thing that you can hope is how we pulled out the win. That's how I felt about that Chicago game. In fact, I was pissed midway through that game. I was like, "Yo, see, this is the Lions." Soon as I was going off. I was like, against Chicago, and man, we pulled it out. He had to be feeling the same way watching his team in a nail biter against the Raiders, or watching your team lose to Arizona, right? You can live with going out losing to Kansas City. If we'd have lost week 1, you can live with that, right? You can't live with certain losses. So when they look sluggish and ugly, you just hope they pull out the W, and that's what Miami did. So again, they showed some resolve. They showed they can deal with some adversity. We know they can go out and score 40, right? What you gonna do when you got to grind one out? And they did that.
It was nice that the Lions and Dolphins were able to, despite the struggles, to rely on their defense to pick them up, which it's been Lions and Dolphins offense all year carrying them. Whereas this week it was both teams had to, at some point, rely on their defense to win the game. Both teams had to do that, and it kind of makes you proud, because it's like when you're a team that's been putting up 70-point games and crazy stats like that.
You did it one time. Calm down.
No, I'm just saying, like, and then you go and win 20-13, and your defense picks up the quarterback 3 times, no matter who it is, and sacks him a bunch of pressures. Like, it's like, okay, we can win in different ways. Eric, you've said this many times about the Eagles this year. Winning different ways, it's like, okay, that's what you want to see out of your team, because if you win by special teams or defense or whatever, it's like, okay, I know if the playoffs come and our offense doesn't have it, the defense is capable of doing that. And so that made me proud, even though I was really disappointed in the offense yesterday. Made me proud I was able to take that away from the game.
John, I'm going to tell you right now, we are in week 11. Philadelphia is 8-1. You know why we're 8-1? Because of my defense. Let's call it what it is, bruh. We are 8-1 because of our defense, and because week 2 against Minnesota on a short week, DeAndre Swift had a coming out party and ran for almost 200 yards. Let's call it what it is. We lost to the Jets, a top-tier defense. The Washington Commanders took us to overtime.
Took you to
the Dallas game is going to be the Dallas game. No, we didn't go to overtime twice.
No, but the Commanders took you to the brink twice.
The Commanders took us to the brink. The only game where I can honestly sit here and say to you, we looked like the team I expected us to be, was the Tampa Bay game. That was the only game. Week 3, Monday Night Football. Other than that, this entire season, we have not looked like the team.
You didn't think so against us?
No.
Because you held our offense down pretty good.
I did, but again, John, my defense. I'm talking about the totality.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And make no mistake about it, I may hate Dallas, but I will say this, and Mike, here you go. I'll give you an early one here for you. Dallas's defense, I'm telling you right now, and no shade when I say this, I'm actually upset that LVE is out. I know we haven't had a chance to talk, Mike, but I'm upset that he's out because
Yeah,
he is that man in the middle.
Well, you never
Okay.
want to see a guy get hurt like that
No,
either. It's
never.
awful to
That's why
see.
when the whole Kirk Cousins situations came down, I was like, even though I don't like him, I never want to see a player get hurt. Never. Nope, that's not me. I may not like you, and I may not like the team, but I never want to see a player get hurt. But I know what Dallas is capable of. I know what Miami's capable of. I know what Detroit's capable of. So Ray is on point. Any one of these 4 teams is going to be in Vegas. I'll manifest it and put it out there. 1, if not 2, of the 4 teams on this screen here tonight on the Sports Arena. And it's so funny because this is the first time that we are all representing our team.
I didn't even notice
Typically,
that.
you know, I wear Sports Arena gear, but this is the first night where you can see all 4 of our teams.
It's the first
And I'm
night we've been in week 10 and all our teams got 3 losses or less.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. With the possibility that in 9 minutes and 45 seconds, if Philadelphia doesn't get it together, the Detroit Lions will be tied with the Philadelphia Eagles for first place in the NFC, which means the number 1 spot is up for grabs. And when you look at Detroit's schedule versus Philadelphia's schedule, listen, you have to play who's on your schedule.
Right, and you guys got.
I will say this: Detroit.
You guys got Buffalo next week too.
We got Buffalo next week. Then we got San Francisco.
And
then we got the Sunday night rematch with you in Dallas. And then I got the Giants, Arizona, Giants, somebody else.
Hey, can I say something? Don't get mad, Eric.
I'm not gonna get mad, John. I'm already
Don't
in the
get
mood.
mad. The last time the Lions were 8-2, black people didn't really have any rights in America. Think about how long ago that was. Was that 1960? 1960, the last time they were 8-2. Isn't that crazy to think about? It's been that long.
They even said a crazier fact. The last time the Browns and the Lions both had 7 wins or more in the same season was 1959, I think. 1959. They were both over 7 wins at this point of the season. Look, I just want to say this quick about Miami. Yes, I did pick the Raiders because I was on the Antonio Pierce ride. And Eric, you kind of, I wouldn't say it wasn't purposely, but when we were talking Max Crosby last week and everything and seeing what he was doing, I kind of was like, you know what? 3 plays. All Max Crosby has to do is make 3-4 plays in a game, and it could change it. And look, Devontae Adams, I mean, had 7 for 82 and
that
touchdown.
Big touchdown, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like they are playing for Antonio Pierce. We talked about that, and John had the nerve to, you know, he wants to call the Cowboys the Sixers. I'll just take that as a compliment, Eric. Because again, you know,
that's not a compliment.
I'll call the Dolphins the Clippers because you ain't done anything since '72. So zip it. Nothing since '72. You have nothing to say. That is fact. Fine.
We went to the Super Bowl in 1984.
To Ray's point, again, you haven't.
We have the greatest quarterback in NFL history.
You haven't won anything since 1972. End of sentence.
The greatest quarterback in history.
The Cowboys haven't been there since Dan Marino. He's saying Dan Marino, which I love Dan Marino, and he knows that. He's playing at a hard
I love Marino too, but come on, man, cut it out.
But anyway, look, the Dolphins did play. The Dolphins did play they play well. And to Ray's point, look, what did they do? Like Tua did throw a pick, but he chucked a lot more passes to Tyreek, and that's in games where they haven't been able to beat good teams, which is fact. Tyreek's had the only game he kind of struggled was Buffalo, just because the way they were bracketing him and they see him all the time. And as much as it thrills me to give John crap about it, I've complimented Tyreek all year. And when Ray said it earlier, I agreed. I'm like, he's not a quarterback. He could be MVP. And I still stand by that. All right. That being said, when you play like that against a Raiders team, and yes, everybody has to win ugly. So I'm not going to talk out of both sides of my mouth and say, oh, it's good that Detroit did it. It was at home and they overcame it. They got 10 points in 4 minutes. But the Raiders hung in that game all day yesterday. Yes, Jalen Ramsey looked good. Yes, and you also have Aiden O'Connell at quarterback who the team's trying to rally around. But let's be honest, that should have been a 4-touchdown game. Because right now, you could say that, okay, the Raiders, I will say, do have a little bit better talent, Eric, like up here, than Carolina. And it's not even about talking about the Cowboys. Cowboys destroyed them. Bland had another pick 6. That's what Dan Quinn does. My point is, I'm not saying you were going to put up 7. I didn't expect them to put up 70 like they did on the Broncos. but a three that should maybe not 4 touchdowns. That should have been a 3-score victory. You're
A
that
game.
much better on offense, Sean. You're that much better on offense. That should have been a 3-score game. That's the point that Eric's talking about, that Ray's talking about. You go and blow out teams that you shouldn't beat. But that's how Eric and I have always said this, and I've talked to you about this a million times, Eric. Like, average teams become good when they start winning games that they're even with teams on paper. Good teams become great when everybody's like, okay, on paper, which we know means nothing, they're better than them, and then they start beating all those teams. Then you start whooping all those teams. Then you get into the area of, you get the right coaching staff in there. A GM that actually knows what they're doing and a coach that works together, getting players in, a la Detroit, a la San Francisco, as much as you know, I hate Big Guard's team because all the yap that he talks. But Miami has that power on offense. And as much as we like to make fun, hold on. As much as I like to make fun of Mike McDaniel, like, it's one of those things where he is creative. He did do that in San Francisco, working with Mike Shanahan. That offense was creative, and it is. But I'm just saying, when you don't beat good teams, and it's a fact, you haven't beat good teams this year. The Cowboys get ripped for it, and I say, yep, that's right. We did lose to the Cardinals, and Ray was poking at me.
All right,
he's right.
We got 9 minutes. I need to get off this screen because this game is going to give me let's talk about this, and I'm going to let y'all handle this one, okay? For all the talk that happened in the beginning with Sean Payton and Russell Wilson, it seems as though they got on the same page because now they're winning. And again, the AFC West, listen, the Raiders, they were on a 2-game winning streak. I don't know how Brandon Staley still has a job, but he does. I don't understand why. I mean, personally, I think the 4 of us could coach the Chargers a hell of a lot better. 1 of us as the head coach and 3 of us as coordinators. That's just my opinion. But Denver, sorry, it's a long shot in.
He's in the red zone.
Oh, thank God. Anyhow, my apologies to everybody. Broncos, Vikings. Ray, please, I'm going to let y'all, I need to get off the screen for a minute.
I'll say this much, right? Where people think that because they're winning some games now that Sean Payton and Russell Wilson have kind of, righted the ship or whatever. And I don't know if that's the case, right? Like, because Sean Payton is known for, they must have scored. I can see him in the background. Like, no, hold on. People need to see this.
Yeah, tush push.
Oh, you just gonna go back. So, like, Sean Payton is known for these high-powered offenses, right? And New Orleans with Drew Brees, like, they put up a lot of points. Drew Brees put up a lot of yards,
yes,
right? That's not what we've seen in Denver, right? We haven't seen, like, we thought the combination of him and Russell Wilson would lead to, this high-powered offense in Denver. Everybody's talking about the weapons they have. You got Sutton, you got Jared Judy, you got the kid Mims, they got a draft. Like, you thinking they're going to really do, and that's not what it's been. They're just grinding out games now. I think before last night, they said it was like 4 straight games Russell Wilson had thrown over 250 or maybe even 200 for that matter. So, like, I don't know if they're on the same page the way people are saying now. Like, the team as a whole has figured out. We can give Peyton some credit they're winning, but Russell Wilson isn't doing nothing phenomenal. He's just there. He looks like early Russell Wilson with Seattle. Like, hey, just don't go out there and lose it. He's not looking like the guy that people thought could be an MVP candidate in his prime years in Seattle, where he was scrambling and throwing a lot and controlling the offense. Like, they're winning, but it's not what I expected at all. Like,
you're right. His last 5 games: 193, 114, 194, 95, and 196.
He's played really well this year, but I think that they've done a good job lately in this winning streak. I think they've done a good job of leaning on the run game first. Keeping the throw short, keeping them check downs, not taking too many risks downfield like they were earlier in the season. And they're relying first on that run game to get everything going. And like Ray said, Russell Wilson's kind of like, he's making the throws when he has to, but he's like game managing while still making some plays here and there. And he's taking care of the football. And the defense is playing really well, and they're able to win games by doing that. It's kind of like Pittsburgh. It's ugly, but they're winning games, and that's all that really matters is you're winning.
Yesterday.
defense is playing defense winning games isn't the word ugly. That needs to change.
No, but
That
but
being
it's
said,
not pretty. It's not 50-point games. It's like
just
13
because
to 10 type
somebody
games.
puts up 50
I
doesn't
want
mean it's
to okay,
pretty.
really quick, Mike, before you go. At one point, maybe in the off season, I'd like to have a conversation with the four of us. Why is it so important that teams have to have 40 and 50-point games?
No, it's
You know
not.
what I mean? It seems like
It's
the
more of a
mindset
talking.
has no. Stick a pin in it, because I want to have that conversation.
Oh.
But I just feel like that seems to become like these NFL games now have to be Madden-esque type games now, and it's like that's not football. But anyhow, Mike, please go, because I know we got a few more minutes. I wanted to get that out there really quick.
Yeah, more so Tecmo Bowl, because Madden actually started changing it with the developers. Like every time it was 4th and 20, you can't go for it and get it because people were doing it. Madden didn't like that. But anyway, that being said, like, yeah, look, I mean, I'm with Ray. I think Russell Wilson can't turn the ball over. Yeah, you start, 1-5. Now you win 4 in a row and you're 5-5 and you're, oddly still on the outside looking in, but just kind of throwing yourself into that wild card mix. And Eric, this is the time of year the ball bounces funny. I mean, like we're saying, there's always a game where somebody, whether it's early in the season, middle of the season, late in the season, somebody has a clunker against somebody. And that is, they have their clunkers, obviously. And yeah, people are like, oh, Russell Wilson needs to be gone. Sean Payton. I mean, we were talking about it. Like, did he wish, Brandon Staley would have been fired? And to your point, he would have been in LA with Justin Herbert. But with what they've done, and last night, I mean, focusing on last night to your question, I mean, he throws for 259, a touchdown, no interceptions. Javonte Williams, I mean, he's back from the injury. He's kind of hitting that stride of the running back they thought they would get. But I'll say this, the last 2 weeks, Courtland Sutton's probably had the catches of the year.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank
you, Mike.
Courtland Sutton in the Buffalo game, that was disgusting. And
I've been
look,
trying to tell John, but he don't want to listen.
But Russell Wilson, I mean, look, that throw was only where Courtland Sutton could make a play like that. So, look, tip the cap to both of them. It was a sick throw. it was an old school, like Ray's saying, kind of Russell Wilson throw. But like when your defense gets beat down like they did, and then you start coming around, because we didn't think going into last year the defense would be the problem for the Broncos, and it wasn't. Their offense was obviously terrible, as we saw, right? I didn't think the defense would somehow regress, especially to start the season, especially with what they have in the back end. So, for Sean Payton to kind of take a breath and, get Russell Wilson, he's not throwing. Like you said, you gave out the yardage, and I was going to get that, but Eric gave out the yards. It hasn't been great, but you win a game in Buffalo. Yeah, they had 12 guys on the field when you missed the field goal, but you win a game in Buffalo. You turn around and you beat the hottest team in the league, which was the Vikings. And Josh Dobbs, I mean, he played a heck of a game. Yeah, I know he had the interceptions, but man, that talking about basketball, guys, that little guard shoving somebody off him, giving him a push, not getting called for a foul, shoves the offensive lineman off, throws a touchdown. I'm like, come on, man. But if Russell Wilson plays like this and the defense again, but that's your question, Eric, can the defense hold up and keep growing and improve like this? Because to the point, Russell Wilson's going to have big yards at some point, right? He's going to have to maybe have that game where it's like, okay, because they still have to play what? They still have to play the Raiders again. I know that. They have one more with the Chiefs. Yeah, they don't play the Chiefs once, right? I think they don't play the Chiefs once.
No, they played them twice.
Anyway, they still have
to
play
twice in 3 weeks.
Okay, yeah.
He had 95 the first game and then 114 the next game. His most yardage this year has been against the Commanders back in September for 308.
Wow, Philly got away with one.
That's the most that
right.
Russ has put up yards this year. 308
right.
against the Commanders.
Right.
So
I mean, look, like I said, can they make a run? But I think they're way too far behind the
There's
eight ball
too many good teams in front.
Everything we talked about in the AFC, and like you said, I mean, the Steelers. I know we're wrapping up but the Browns defense, like DTR, I'll give him a shout out. UCLA kid. Last year of the Pac-12. So anyway, but shout out to DTR because he had a whole week to get ready. And Kevin Stefanski ran the Tom Brady dink and dunk, man. If you watch that game, everything was fast game. Everything was quick. No receivers had like crazy yards, but on the last drive, you can say whatever you want, John. On the last drive in pucker time, Eric, he took him from their own 35 to the Steelers 34, and they get the winning field goal. Pucker time. Great. And he won the game, and he didn't turn the ball over. So it was ugly. Their defense won it for him. Myles Garrett leads the league in sacks now. 2 more yesterday.
He's so good.
Mike, you said you was talking about the AFC. You said the Browns defense.
What about? I'm saying the Browns defense. The Browns defense is very good.
They're not good though.
The Browns defense is good.
The Browns defense just isn't good. They're nowhere near Baltimore's level. Like come on now.
They're better in the fourth quarter than Baltimore.
No way, Mike. No way.
Ray, Baltimore's giving up the most fourth quarter points.
The Browns. I mean, let's play
giving up the most fourth quarter points.
Let's play a game of
Like
who
he's
am I?
messing with you.
The Browns defense just isn't good. Who was that last week?
They played Kenny Pickett. Chill out. Like they played Kenny Pickett.
Oh, I see.
Worst quarterback in the history of the
Ray.
NFL.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. John has an excuse for everything, and it's funny because it's okay. His Clippers will. Dolphins will. We'll see what they do down the stretch because
the Dolphins remind me of.
They got the Cowboys, the Ravens, and the Bills all down the stretch. Against those defenses. Okay, good luck, buddy. Good luck. The Bills are your daddy. The Bills are your daddy, so that's not a win.
The Dolphins remind me of
what
the
you want about the
2010
Dolphins,
Heat.
but right now the Dolphins are 2 games. They're
I know.
a game ahead of they're 7-3. Buffalo is 6-5. So
half a game behind the Ravens for best record.
you can say what you want.
That's fine.
But what you can't say is the Dolphins they're atop their division.
They are. And when they went head to head with Buffalo, Buffalo showed who daddy was, and they'll do it again the last week of the season.
Remember when the Buccaneers won the Super Bowl with Tom Brady and they got swept by the Saints that year in the regular season? But they still won the Super Bowl.
Brady lost 4 out of 5 to the Saints.
Yeah, and they still won the Super Bowl. That's my point.
Boy, you can't beat Kansas City.
It doesn't matter.
You can't beat Kansas City. You didn't beat them. So let's hear the excuse.
You pivot. You pivot, Mike. Every time
I'm just saying, Buffalo's your daddy, and you still aren't beating Kansas City.
Can I ask a serious question before we get out of here tonight?
Mike pivots like a basketball.
And I want to hear an answer from everybody. In your honest opinion, who's winning the NFC South? Because the Saints are 5-5, the Falcons and the Bucks are both 4-6. And I want y'all to be totally honest. Who is coming out of the NFC South in your guys' honest opinion?
I think Tampa Bay is the best.
Tampa Bay looks really good.
I got 2 for Tampa Bay, Mike.
Yeah, I think I took the Saints because I took the Saints, but I'm going to stick with the Saints. But yeah, here's my answer for you. Not shocked if Tampa Bay wins it, but I think the Saints got the defense to do it too. So
at least he's consistent. Every week we will definitely get a Mike Carrington answer.
Saints win it. Saints win the South. There, fork in it. Put a pitchfork in it, Eric. Saints win the South.
I like what
I'm looking at our preseason predictions right here, and Ray, you had Ray had the Falcons at 4-13. But John, you ain't no better. You had them at 5-12.
What are they, like 4-6?
Yeah.
That don't mean they're winning many more games.
Yeah, I mean, 0-7's not out of the realm of possibility for the rest of their games. My picks are still in play.
It's not out of the realm.
Mike, you gave the Saints 11-6.
Oh,
holy!
What's worse?
Oh yeah, Mike is definitely worse. I didn't give anybody more than I didn't give anybody more than 9 wins.
They could win 5 more games. They can be 10 and 7, 11-6. So that's fine.
I mean, really quick though. Speaking of picks and wins.
Oh, here he goes. Here he goes. Well, Ray, I'm telling you right now, if we can hold off Kansas City, John is the weekly champ.
That's right.
You got to hope. And here's the weird thing: you didn't ask John for points. I turn in points with mine every week, so I don't know how that's going to work out.
You don't need points.
No, because you had different teams. You both have 10 wins right now.
No, I think John's the win ahead of me.
No, we're tied because
you're tied because
Broncos.
John had Minnesota and you had Denver, which gave you 10 wins. John had 10 wins going into Sunday night. Had Minnesota won, John would have been outright the winner this week.
Yeah, that was a 2-game swing. I was up by 1 on you, and the Vikings lost. That brought you back.
Yep.
Stupid Broncos.
Oh, So I'm gonna win again after Kansas City wins. Okay.
Oh wow.
Hey,
No, I just didn't know.
you ain't clipping these wings tonight. It's Eagles time.
Well, it's 3rd and 23, so I'm guessing there's no first down in their future.
They're trying to burn them timeout to the Chiefs.
Oh, here we go.
I got beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, rams, hogs, dogs, chicken, turkeys, rabbit, you name it. Look! I got beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, rams, hogs, dogs, beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, chicken, turkeys, rabbit, you name it. Beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb,
I can't help it. Can't help it.
Beans, greens, potatoes,
Hey, happy
tomatoes,
Thanksgiving,
chicken,
everybody. We will definitely talk to y'all next week. Everybody stay blessed. Have fun with your family. Be safe on Black Friday. For the Sports Reporter Without Pay, my co-host Ray Lynn. My man John Shear. Check him out tomorrow night. Sideline Sports, NFL Alumni Media. Pitchfork Lunch. He's a Sun Devil, Jerry. 18 years and still going strong. My man Mike Carrot-Tenuto. Much love to everybody. We will see y'all next Monday night, man. It is the Sports Arena. Peace. We out.